As far as we know, it's going through 3 council farms, so the people in those farms will be losing their livelihood, I presume. Now this is the junction, it'll come off on the right.
Here we have the old route between the 2 roads at the moment, which of course is quite narrow and twisty.
Now that farm's probably going to...
Okay.
Oh, that nice coppice is... They may go either side of it, to be fair. But they are coming through, basically coming through farmland.
I don't think the link roads have got anything to do with alleviating traffic, and we know that. The council themselves have said it's to do with unlocking land for development, so it's got nothing to do with solving our problems. Dumping more houses once the link roads are built is not going to help our issue here. It's got nothing to do with it whatsoever. The Highways Agency have said that 12 to 15% of the traffic only is through traffic. So everyone is actually trying to get into Hereford. Having a bypass, like in Worcester, won't make much of a difference. They are trying to push a narrative that if we have a bypass, it's going to solve all our problems. It isn't. The bypass is to build houses, we know that, it's to unlock land. It's not going to help the traffic problem we have coming through the centre of town because everyone wants to get to work.
That countryside is not simply going to have a road in it, that countryside is going to have houses in it as well. So this is where it's going to come out.
We've lived here approximately 12 years, and this has been our dream home. It was constructed originally for agricultural purposes. It was, prior to that, it was a substation. It's now a 3-bedroom bungalow. We've done lots of extensions and work here, and it's part of our dream. We've always worked hard for something like this.
We went to a meeting in July, and we knew that this link road was being built, but it wasn't very clear on the plans that it was going actually through our garden. It didn't show any properties at all on that map. And it was in January, when we went to the meeting at the Three Counties Hotel, that we discovered that it was actually going through our garden, and that they were also going to fell the oak tree, and we've since discovered it may be 3. And that was the first time we knew about it.
Do you think the council had consulted you and other people adequately about this in the months before that?
Not at all. We hadn't had any consultation from the council whatsoever. And in fact, at that meeting in January, when I raised the question with Geraint Jones that this was our garden, he said it wasn't, and that he would go away and check it, and discovered it was. And it took some time before they got back to us, and I actually had to send copies of our title deeds and registry records to prove that it was. They still said that they were going ahead with the road. They agreed it was our property, but they were still going ahead with following the red line boundary.
As the link between the A465 and the B4349 was not on the original plans for the link road, for what reason do you think they decided to extend it?
That idea was suggested by our ward councillor David Taylor, and he came to see us one Saturday morning, late Saturday morning. I can't remember the exact time, but I know it was in the autumn time, early winter. And he described a route that they may have been able to have followed. I then scored this on the map at his approximation of sites of roundabouts and road links, and he agreed with me that that was his idea. And when we went to the meeting in January, we discovered that wasn't the road that the council had adopted, and that because they told us the Highways Authority wouldn't accept those plans because of the angle of the junction.
I did ask if they could move the road over, but they said they couldn't because of the curvature of the road and the speed limit. And there's 4 acres of meadow that they could have moved over into, which is what the ward councillor did in fact ask them to do.
Probably worth noting is that the reason why it got suggested was that this turn off from the main road going to Hale Wire is quite dangerous, because as you're coming along here, you're partly down that road. You get you don't get much view of the curve, the bend there. So here we go. Here's the trees over there. To your knowledge, was there any consultation with other people in the parish about this plan?
I wouldn't think so. I don't think they've consulted anyone at all, and I really don't think they would have consulted us if I hadn't have discovered this the way I did discover it and kick up quite a lot of fuss. And they've now suggested a site plan, that perhaps they should have a site meeting, and that is actually planned for tomorrow.
Continuing on the subject of consultation, I believe there was a meeting a year or so back where some people were invited and others were excluded from the meeting, but you were actually at that meeting.
Yes, that was in July. That was a 3-day exhibition. I think it was 3 days. And yes, we were actually in the foyer when people, particularly people from Church Road, I know, were refused entry.
That's all.
And they refused entry. And you know, in fact, Michael said then, you know, why can't they come in?
They're ratepayers.
They're ratepayers, and they were told it was only by invitation, and they would like the people that were directly affected to be told first. And yet we are directly affected by going through our garden, and they haven't even told us. We had to discover it ourselves.
Not even at that time. And when, going back to David Taylor, when our ward council, when he and I discussed, and Jean discussed it in our kitchen, he assured me that it would be going between where the 3rd oak tree is from the extremity of our boundaries to the 4th oak tree, which would have meant that no trees would have to be cut down or trimmed or would have any significant root damage to the possible construction of a road.
Can you tell me now a little bit about the oak tree that's actually part of your property, which I believe the council said had grown out of a hedge?
It's approximately 500 years old to 800 years old. This is the estimate that we were given by one a tree surgeon and somebody else that came to visit us. I'm not mentioning any names, but they came to visit us with a close friend of ours, and he told us that it was approximately 300 to 500 years old. Well, we've had jays nesting in the tree, we've had other birds nesting, we've had bats not roosting but resting in the trees after digesting the fruit from our trees. We've also had buzzards not nesting in the trees but roosting there. Squirrels and other wildlife. We've had field mice. I've actually saw a field mouse being chased by a stoat up the tree, and this is going back some time ago when we came here first. We've had a deer in the garden. That's how quiet it is around here for a deer to come and visit us in the garden. We've got, as everybody, infested with rabbits, and it's a nice garden. It's well laid out in this established garden. To maintain the nature of our garden, we recently had a hedge laid which cost us over £400.
And that's a mixed hawthorn and blackthorn hedge.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we have seen plans that suggest that they are going through our property. It's approximately 19 metres from our apex boundary, In that apex is the 500-year-old oak. There are also other trees in that part of the property that we had to put in because there were trees that were damaged by storms, were rotting, and we were told in our deeds that any tree that is taken out from our property because of these eventualities, we are to return to the property by planting new trees. We've always administered to this rule and done our best to keep it as it was when we first came here. And now, I've been choky now.
Yeah, that's all right. And
this is a burden that we don't require at our age. All this shock, and they think they can bulldoze us out of the way, and I don't want that to happen.
And they're not prepared to listen at all, you know. No. We've suggested alternatives that we know that they can accommodate. Like I've said, move the road over slightly or move the roundabout down a little bit. They could quite easily do this, you know, and keep the same curvature of the road. You know, it's just, they're not willing at all to help out. They just want to do what they're going to do, and that's it. You know, they've made their mind up, and they're just going to bulldoze through it no matter what.
And what's going to happen if they put this road in is we've got no street lighting around here. And I like watching the sky at night when the occasions occur. Well, if they put these roundabouts in, it's going to be like Blackpool. I'm not going to see any natural skylight at all. All I'm going to see are these lights. So that's another way. There's the noise, there's the pollution, and in this time of so much pollution, with the expected 1,600 plus houses coming in, you can say on average every house has at least 2 vehicles. All that pollution, chopping down trees, more kids, more people are going to be breathing in that pollution, and there they are felling trees when what we should be doing is planting trees.
I think they've suggested planting trees as mitigation, haven't they? What do you think of their ideas of mitigation?
Well, I can't see how they can do that. My qualifications for saying that tree is, as I said, a very old tree, and I haven't got time to wait 500 years to see a tree of that majesty in the area.
They could actually improve the junction at the area known as the Lousy Oak for vehicles that need to turn right to approach the roundabout to get onto the A49, particularly lorries, which is what the Ward Councillor mentioned. It was dangerous turning right. They could improve that junction, and they could save money. It's not going to cost them as much to improve that junction as it is to build a totally new, unnecessary road going nowhere. And I mean, there's compensation they've got to pay to landowners and property owners, and all the hassle that we're getting could be avoided, totally avoided. It's really, really not necessary.
But that it means now, where they're going to have the road, that those trees you see there are going to be taken out. The big trees outside in the fields, they're going to be taken out.
These trees in our garden, this one and that one up there.
So where's the white peg here?
The white peg's here.
Oh, it's there, is it?
Oh, it's there.
Right.
So that's the one boundary, and you can't quite see through to the other peg over there, over on the other hedge. You'll see what I mean now. It goes right up into that corner.
oh, up there?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it that peg that's sticking up?
No, that's not even into the corner.
Oh, right.
You carry on through there.
Quite a number of our trees, you see, John, down.
If you can imagine this now, was the size of that tree there, or perhaps a bit bigger. So that's what they call a royal oak now.
Right.
When it gets to a certain age, I'm led to believe they call them royal oak.
I don't know.
I know that's only a laurel, but it's a nice shaped laurel,
Yeah.
you know, it fits that corner nicely.
From where the pegs are, that's going to be the boundary coming through for excavation and construction of the road.
Right.
They're then proposing it could be possible for us, where those stones are laid there,
Yeah.
for us to be able to reclaim back as far as there. It may be possible.
I can't remember how many species, I've got it written down somewhere, but oak trees are incredibly biodiverse, particularly old oak.
Oh yeah.
Insect-wise
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
And you've also had it as a roosting, not roosting, but resting place for bats.
There's an unmarked footpath. I don't know whether it's unmarked or unmaintained, but it's unmarked. Immediately the other side of this hedge.
Yeah.
This would be where the peg is in the ground on our side. Straight across there, and it's put up across that way, and it's down to that corner down there, where the oak tree is. Approximately 2 metres past the oak tree. This is a typical example of where they could have easily put a road in here,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't have had to touch any of the trees. There's the Cleonga Road. If you can get the Cleonga Road with traffic going down it,
Yeah.
like now, see there's 2 cars coming through now? That's the Cleonga Road, and they could have gone straight over here to that post there, look, John,
Yeah.
couldn't they?
Easily.
And put a mini roundabout or a roundabout in there, and they could have put a roundabout down there on the main Abergavenny Road. Without touching any trees. But I honestly believe we should be against the total thing now. That's where I'm coming from now. Well, initially we were told by the councillors at this meeting the other week, when we went to see some of the planners, some of our representatives on the council, and some of the highways people that work for the council as well. We were told that there's a possibility of a 5th link coming off the original roundabout on the A465. That's as well as this link road that they're putting on at the moment. This 5th exit off the A465 would then be directed northeast towards the other side of Hereford, which means also building a new bridge over the River Wye. So I then suggested, and have since suggested to councillors, that instead of having a 5th exit, why not have 4 exits as previously planned? Why go to the expense of modification of a roundabout established at that time, and link it up with a roundabout on the Cleonga Road that would then be able to travel on further northeast to this new bridge that they will be hoping to build on over the river. It seems simple logic to me if that is the case and the required need is there, which I have a question about the required need. The question is about the required need. This road isn't really needed for traffic as it stands, because it will not help or relieve the volume of traffic going into Hereford itself. This is to accommodate councillors to sell their farmland for putting houses on. They get some cash back for the debt they're in.
We went to a meeting which was chaired by the Civic Society, and the leader of the Herefordshire Council, Tony Johnson, was in attendance, and they were speaking about the housing and bringing growth to Hereford, and about the university, and Michael actually asked about water. Perhaps you could come in on that one then?
I asked the question, if we were going to have such a number of houses built, in the region of 1,600 houses I believe, with all the pollution from the vehicles and the people that are coming into the vehicle, Herefordshire is now going to be a very nice place to live. But the question I asked was, at this moment in time, in the summer, any summer, we have a hosepipe ban, which means that I can't clean my car, water my garden, etc. That means there's a shortage of water. So where is the water going to come from for these extra people that are going to live in Herefordshire? Where's that water coming from to feed them? And the answer I had from the chairman of the council was that Dubai seemed to manage. Now Dubai is one of the richest countries in the world that can afford to desalinate seawater to give themselves drinking water. This is coming from the chairman of a strapped cash council. And I thought to myself immediately, these are the idiots, the educated idiots that we have in charge of us. Carrying on from these uneducated councillors, we are in a privileged position of keeping this marvellous planet of ours for future generations, i.e. my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And the way that humanity is not looking after this planet, there will be no future for further generations. Humankind is going to be slowly wiping itself out because of greed.